Yo, 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 it's your girl E. How y'all doing? Hope you guys are good. It was my birthday on the 27th of May, and it was amazing. You know what? I actually said to myself, I'm not going to bother doing anything, and I didn't want to, so I decided to go to a friend's barbecue, and I was like, why are you going to someone else's stuff on your birthday? Because I'm like, nah, don't want to do anything. And I got there, and it was amazing because the barbecue wasn't just a barbecue, it was my birthday. And they had cake, and then we had online party that they had planned, which was a surprise, and I got some gifts. And I left the barbecue and online party, and I felt so loved. I just felt loved, and I just thought, this is amazing. Why, for me, you did this for me. I don't know why I couldn't believe it, but I couldn't. And I was really, really encouraged. I was, oh goodness, I was encouraged. But yeah, I wanted to digress just a little bit from what we've been talking about. And I wanted to talk about the mind. Now, I'm talking about the mind for one particular reason, because I have allowed the mind to mess me up in so many ways. You would think that it was separate of me, but the mind is very, very powerful. I'm not joking. The mind is powerful. It can either make or unmake you. It can be a blessing or it can be detrimental. It all depends on you. We all need to get to that point where we're not being controlled by our mind. We need to get to that point where we understand the power of the mind and we're able to shift things. We need to get to a point where the mind is not directing your action. The mind is not leading you, but you're the one leading your mind. And the power with the mind is something that, people don't always understand how powerful that can be. The thing is, I love my own company, and I get quite, cautious when I'm meeting new people, and I love it when I'm able to express myself, but sometimes I find myself liking my company a lot more. And the more I like my company, the more I am able to sit in a place and just allow my mind to wander. Remember, I told you a couple of weeks ago that one of the biggest difficulties that I can sometimes get is in that place where I get in that place where I just have fantasies and I'm thinking so many things out of my head and so many things coming, and sometimes it's not always a good thing. It's not always a good thing, so the power of the mind is something that we need to sort of always focus and look at, and to understand that, if you don't put yourself in a place where you begin to, control what you think, every single thing will affect you negatively. What do I mean by that? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there are no places of trauma. You might lose someone or lose a relationship you've been with for years, but there needs to come to a place when the loss of something is hindering you from moving. That is when it's no longer beneficial. Now, what do I mean by that, beneficial? There's a place where, with loss, where your mind can get a bit overwhelmed, you can get a bit sad. That's okay. And it's only there for a little while because you are mourning something that you've lost. But when you get to the point where your mind completely shuts down and all your thoughts are negative, and you're struggling to get up, you're struggling to move, you're struggling to do things, that is when you've completely allowed your mind to take control. And the control that it's taken, it's not in a positive light, but a negative one. And that can be quite difficult, and the funny thing is, I can relate to this because I got to a point at one time in my life where, I allowed my mind to direct everything that I did, my thinking process, how I approached someone, the way I spoke to people, just everything about me. My mind was in control. And it wasn't always positive. I had a morbid mindset. Sometimes something would happen to maybe my children, and I would immediately think to myself, it's because I did something wrong. If I had prayed, if I had done this, if I hadn't done this, and I would always come back to blame myself and condemn myself. I mentioned to you earlier about the power of the mind. Think about it. It was the power of the mind that we're able to create and discover so many things. Within